All right, welcome back. So now we're going to be taking a look at the Ambience Medieval collection. New collection as of February 2023. This collection has 11 Reaper projects with 278 source files, and then also 199 rendered files and 604 media items total. One thing, again, a quick reminder, I'm just putting this at the beginning of each of these Ambience videos because it is pretty reliant on it. If you have the Strata collections and you haven't yet installed the IEM plugins for some reason, you're going to make sure that you do that for these. Otherwise, they're not going to function properly. So it's a good reminder. This particular collection, I'll be kind of taking a look at just the overall area ambiances and then kind of taking a look at some of the objects. There's a lot of unique objects in here. So I'll probably spend a little bit more time giving you a preview of some of the object projects that are contained. Main project window, let's just take a quick look at what all is in here and get a lay of the land. So we have some different area and interiors as far as our ambient beds, however you want to refer to them, as far as those go. So covering a lot of things you probably would honestly immediately expect when you think of something medieval. There's the castle ambiances, there's a church, some interior tavern, which I actually did use that and found a fun place to kind of demo that. Market, harbor. So a lot of good options with the ways you can customize them. I found uses for them other than what they actually say that they are. You can broaden the context up quite a bit as far as where they actually will be applicable for you. Of course, we have some objects as well for each of the areas and interiors to correspond to them. So again, things you would probably guess. So let's go into the harbor area project. This is one I used. So as we can see, a lot going on here. I know that if you've already watched the other two videos, so what is all contained within these project structures for your ambiances is you have two loops. So there's a loop track up top here. And inside that contains, several basic layers that make it up. So in our cases, if I go to, I think I use night 2. So let's go to that one. So we have these parameter controls, distance and intensity. So these correspond to effects plugins. In our case, I believe this would be Enrage here. Right? So that's what that's going towards. Now your loop tracks also have some of these parameter controls as well. So we can take a look at those. Again, has some control over the plugin as opposed to you having to do all your automation on your own. Controls over the reverb send. Which, by the way, the reverb tracks for all these, each loop has its own down here. Right. So these composites are essentially there's a send that goes off of the main mix into each one of these folder tracks here, so that regardless of which one you need. So if you right now it's always going to open up in stereo when you go in there. I have the ambisonics track unmuted because I'm going to be using it inside of Wise. If you're not actively monitoring it, you don't need to assign it to the parent bus. First thing that caught my ear was obviously the people in the background. So thankfully, if you don't want people, you can just come over here, take the quantity, knock that down. Or maybe if you want them, you do want the people, you can have a lot of them and just push them off into the distance. Right, so that's an option. And then there's this construction just kind of randomly going on, so I could definitely get rid of that. And I ended up really with a pretty bare bones sort of ambience, so I got rid of all the people. So you just really want to have just kind of the waves and just the general ambience of the harbor in there. You can also control some of the wind parameters. So maybe I want more intense wind. Maybe more distant wind. Right? So, I mean, right there, it's just there's multiple different iterations you can come out with without really even barely having to even try. So again, it's pretty cool how versatile just these couple of loops that are set up in here are, and the way that these projects are kind of thought out. It just leaves a lot less work for you. There is a lot of material in this one in terms of just quantity and the number of different types of ambiances and objects. So let's do a quick little overview here. We've heard the harbor plenty, back alley. Again, as you can imagine, you can adjust, the people and kind of have all those elements are totally separated out in most of these. Medieval city. Oh, I like this one actually. Let's hear the castle. Interior. Chain rattles. Of course, plenty of fire stuff. So campfires, oil lamps. 2 different sizes. They even have some ship creeks for the harbor there if you need some one shots. Hammer on wood and metal, and they have some loops of those as well. Okay, then we're into the tavern objects. Chairs. Yeah, all kinds of stuff. Even a nice little kind of side sort of Foley library essentially kind of built in there to a certain degree. Thanks for checking out the video here. Hopefully, you're finding these new collections just come out pretty cool. I enjoyed playing around with them. Probably the most excited I've been messing around with ambience in a while. A lot of the pain points that they're addressing in these collections are definitely the reasons they often give me a headache trying to come up with ambient backgrounds and just kind of get an environment ready and set up on a basic level. So with these, you're going to have no problem kind of very generally covering different areas, as far as it applies to these themes anyway. So all in all, pretty good experience with the February 2023 collections here. So I'll leave you with the little project I put together, so you get another kind of firsthand example of what you could do.